Okay, you start.
All right. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the FIBA presentation. Our presenter today is Nofalo Raji. He's been an instructor from 2010. Currently, he's the head coach of Morocco basketball team, the men's team. And today's topic, he's going to talk about coaches' leadership. Welcome, and Nofal, please go on.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, before I get started, welcome to everyone, and what a pleasure to have everyone here. I'm going to ask everyone to kindly please turn off your cameras and turn off your audio, please, if you don't mind. Okay, I believe that everyone here can hear me. So in order to get started and make sure that we have a smooth training this afternoon, I'm going to ask you to please turn off your cameras and your microphones. Fantastic. I am going to share with you my screen just now. And so again, welcome to this to the FIBA training. It's a FIBA training platform. I hope that all of you are doing well. We are here thanks to FIBA, who has once again gathered us here knowledge and share our knowledge. These pre-training courses are designed to help you young coaches or coaches of young individuals to develop your knowledge and to better prepare for future coaches training trainings organized by FIBA. Welcome to our friends from Rwanda, Kenya, Nigeria, and Namibia. That is Group 5E. So this week, the training will be this week, and we'll start every time at 2:30 GMT time, which is about this time. We'll go on for about an hour until about an hour and 15 minutes. Today's leadership topic will be presented by myself. Tomorrow's topic, my colleague, Coach Owino, will be talking about effective practice sessions. On Wednesday, we will have a break. On Thursday, we will talk about offensive fundamentals, also Coach Owino. And then on Friday, we'll finish this week's training when I will be presenting the season planning. Before I go on, I'm going to ask everyone to participate in a quick polling. I'm going to ask you all a question, and I'm going to test if you guys are there ready to participate in today's training. So I am going to launch the polling. I'm going to give you a few seconds to answer. So here we go. Just please answer the following question. Where are you from? You can answer Kenya, Namibia, Nigeria, Rwanda, or other. Please go ahead and start answering. Our friends from Nigeria seem to be pretty present, as well as Kenya, Rwanda. We got a few as well from Namibia. Very good. I'm still waiting for a few people to vote. Almost there. Another few seconds. Very good. I'm going to finish this poll right now. Thank you. So, as I said, today's topic is leadership. Okay. What is leadership in basketball? As basketball coaches, we have quite a few ways to develop ourselves. Many of us tend to go through the easiest way, which is go to YouTube, look for some drills and some skill development drills that can help us coach our players. But many of us forget something that is extremely important, in the many aspects of the coaching profession. Those of us coaches, not only we need to work on our technical parts, but we need to work on our other parts that we'll be discussing today. And one of these key areas that we'll be discussing is leadership. Coaches are naturally leaders, but we have different types of leaders. As I'm talking to you right now, and if I say leader, many of you are thinking of a particular person who represents quite a bit of an important leadership to you. Many of us have a family member as a leader that we admire. Some of us have someone else, like a role model that we look forward to and we admire. In basketball, you are it. You are that leader that pushes the players to go from one to level two, or going from one particular position to another position. So let's get started. A coach is always wondering, is always thinking. A coach is always thinking, what is the best ball handling drill? What is something that I can do with our players in order to improve their defensive footwork? How about something that can help me teach players with catch and shoot? Coaches are thinking about how to work on rebounding, how to block out rebounds, how to attack the offensive rebound, how to secure the defensive rebound. Coaches are also thinking about how to teach the bounce pass and many other passes. And if I ask you to think a little bit about all these five aspects of the basketball game, can you think for a minute and tell me what you think they have in common? All five of you? All five of them, I mean? What do they all have in common? Okay? And the answer is they are all individual skills related drills or topics. So a coach is thinking about how to improve a player, one player, individually. Okay? Coach is also still thinking about other things, such as how to teach the hedge and recover. Some of you might not know what a hedge and recover is. Some of you do know what hedge and recover is. Hedge and recover is a defensive technique or a defensive strategy that some coaches might want to implement and decide to implement. Some coaches think about how to teach the pass and cut. Other coaches might think also about how to teach defensive communication. The flat triangle is something that we also want to teach. Off-ball screens, as well as on-ball screens. And again, unlike the previous 5 sets of topics that we discussed that were individual skill development, these are team tactics and strategies. Okay? These are combinations between 2 or more players in order to develop these drills and these habits. So coach is also thinking about team tactics and strategies. And as we said earlier, the coach thinks about teaching individual skills. Okay? So let's all understand the difference here. So you as a coach call one player and say, Michael, I want to come, I want to work out with you. All right? And we are going to work out on your catch and shoot. We're going to work out on your bounce pass. We're going to work out on the way you have slide on your defensive footwork. That's individual work that you will do. As a coach, also you might ask Michelle and Nadia to come to practice. Michelle and Nadia, today we are going to work on the passing and cutting. I'm going to pass the ball and we're going to cut. So you work on it, and all of a sudden Astu shows up. So we have Astu, Michelle, and Nadia, and we are going to work on pass and go and screen away, as in off ball screen. So these are team tactics and strategies that you will be working. All right. So as a coach, you need to develop the way you work with individual skills and the way you deal with tactics and strategies. But then, to link both these things, you need to develop another aspect of your know-how, of your learning, of your coaching. What is that other aspect? That's another aspect that we are going to discuss just now. So, as a coach, you are thinking again, and you're asking lots of questions. You're asking lots of questions. Before I go on, I'm going to open a little pause here and remind everyone that, of course, you are welcome to take notes. However, please be advised that this presentation will be shared on YouTube within a day or two, and this way you can go back and check out if you missed some notes. However, if you want to take some notes, as in asking some questions later, you may do so. Reminder that we'll have an opportunity to ask questions later on at the end of this presentation. Okay? So what kind of players would I have? What are their goals? This is something that I, as a coach, I need to ask myself. It's a new season. What kind of players? Am I going to have old players? Am I going to have young players? Is it going to be boys? Is it going to be girls? What are their goals? What are the goals of these players? How is it for me possible to know what these players' goals are? How can I influence the behavior of my players? These are certain things that we are, as coaches, we're thinking about. Can I make my practices positive, fun, and safe? How can I do that? How can I have my practices full of fun? How do I communicate with young players if I have young players? How do I communicate with young players and parents? How do I set expectations for players? What do I do in order to set expectations for players? How do I go about it? And what is success? What is success? How would I measure success? How would I say that this has been a successful season? Or how would I say, or judge myself and say that I have been very successful in achieving my goals? Is it winning competitions, winning games? Or is it really nurturing kids? Is it influencing kids? Is it helping kids move from one stage of their lives to another stage of their lives? I need to remind you that you are all here, supposedly coaches that work with young players. So we are going to concentrate on leadership and answer questions related to the coaching life of a youth program. The coach continues to think, how can I can I guide my players towards success? How can I do that to make them successful? Do all players have learned the same way? Do all learn differently? How come I give the same set of instructions to all 10 players or to all 15 players, but then some react quickly, some take too long to react, some understand it quickly, some don't understand it at all, others have to ask other people for questions? Do all players learn the same way? Do I need to establish team rules? Do I need to establish guidelines in order to mainstream our paths? What time should I arrive to practice? Should I arrive right on time? If practice starts at 5, should I arrive at 5 to 5? Or should I arrive at 4:30? Or 4:15? Or 4:45? What time should I get there? What happens to whoever comes late? How can I send a clear message? What is right and what is wrong? Because this is eventually, we'll understand that this is an extremely important part of coaching young individuals. How often should I meet with parents? Huh? How often can I meet with them? The coach continues to think. And this coach here is thinking about how and when and can I complain to referees for a bad call. You know, it's very obvious. It was out of bounds and the ref did not call it. That is a bad call. How can I do that? How should I do that? Should I do that? Is that important to me? How do I give feedback to players during the game? How do I give them feedback during practices? Do I tell them that was extremely wrong? You should not have taken that shot. How do I improve their game during practices? Or should I just say, okay, you know what? That was great effort. And then when it comes to practice, when it's time to practice, that's when we will be working on those particular aspects that we may have missed. How do I give feedback? Should I be honest? Or should I somehow not tell the truth? What is my goal? How can I make these players improve? Should I change my philosophy? As a coach, I might have a philosophy already. I might have a way that I am basically, this is the way I coach. Do I change it according to who the players are? Do I coach the same way? I don't care whether it's seniors or juniors, whether it's boys or girls, whether it's beginners or advanced players. How can I manage different abilities and personalities of my players? Some kids are naughty. Some kids are introverts. Some are extroverts. Some are energetic. Some are go-getters. Some are beginners. Some have been with the program for about 5 years. You know, how do I differentiate teaching and dealing with all these players? Should I allow my players to participate in other events? For instance, if they are selected in their school team to play a school tournament, or if they have a piano recital, or they also play volleyball, should I allow them to participate? Do I need to participate in regional coaches training? Do I need to be involved? Or no, I just, I'll just go home, I lock myself in, and I just work on my own. How do I work about that? What is my goal? Is my goal to really help players in general, to help them with life? Or is my goal really just to make them basketball players? Am I just training players to become LeBron Jameses and Steph Curry's? How do I reflect on my performance? How did I do? Did I do well in that particular game? Did I do well in that particular practice? How can I improve myself? Do I need to improve? I know everything. I don't need to know more. Can I ask parents for help? Who can help me? Who can help my program? What can parents do? Can I ask other coaches? Can I ask volunteers? Should I have computer skills? Should I master a particular application in order to be in the know? What are the team goals? What are we trying to, what are the goals? Did I plan my goals properly? What are the goals? Do I have a tournament? What are my needs? Or what are my needs throughout the season? Do I have all the resources that I need? Do I have all the help that I need? Can I teach values such as respect, resilience, confidence, sportsmanship, responsibility? Or do I only dedicate myself to teaching basketball, how to shoot, how to pass, etc.? Or do I teach players other things, other values that are important? Do I have enough resources? Do I have cones? Do I have balls? Do I have uniforms? When should I plan practices? Should I plan ahead of time or right before I come to practice, or a few weeks or a few months? Or should I just come and improvise? So as you can see, these are all questions that a coach usually asks. So we said earlier, the coach thinks about developing players, thinks about developing teams. And as we saw by looking at all the questions that we just had, the coach is also taking care of the way they behave and their interpersonal skills and the way they are teaching the players, the way they are teaching the team, the way they are communicating. So as coaches, if you want to really improve, you need to understand these three different aspects of coaching: the player part, the team part, and the coach part. This is extremely important for you to understand in order to concentrate on particular things depending on what your goal is. So let's go ahead and answer some questions in order to define what leadership in basketball is. So, first question was, what kind of players would I have? What are their goals, as we talked about earlier? Can I make practices positive, fun, and safe? How to set expectations for players? Well, first of all, you need to meet with your players. As a coach, and I have been coaching for several years right now, and I've coached all different levels and genders. I have always made a serious point in meeting with my players all the time, and whenever possible, meet with them 3 times a year. Beginning of the season, halfway throughout the season, end of the season. When you meet with your players, you get to find out quite a few things. They get to know who you are. They get to know what to expect. They need to understand. They get to understand what to expect in the season. You have honest conversations, and you really get to understand them of why they are involved in the program. Some players might be there because their parents forced them to come. Some players might be there because they really want to become a serious basketball player. Some players might be there simply because they are friends with someone else. So when you meet with your players, you answer quite a few questions. You understand that they may have different abilities because they just started basketball. It's only been a year, it's only been a month, or this is the first time that they come into basketball. Remember, you all have had players that came with soccer shirts or soccer shoes. And then you have other players who might be advanced, still the same age. Then you will understand that you have players of different abilities and you need to coach accordingly. When you meet with the players, you may establish goals, and these goals can be individual goals with particular players. You can say to Michelle, this year, this is my goal with you. I would like you to be able to go for a left-hand layup at the end of the season. Huh? And then maybe the goal is different for us two, where us two, you will say that I would like you to be able to play defense, the hedge and recover defense, automatically and understand how it works. Um, you will find out that players have different dreams. Huh? Dreaming is extremely important. When you're dealing with young players, you have to let them dream. They need to be able to dream. And this is why um, uh, when you're meeting with them, when you're getting to know them, you understand the way they think, the way they dream. They may have different learning abilities, as we talked about earlier. And you will understand that what works for player A does not work for player B. Some players just want to come and try something new. They want to come out of their other environment. Some players might not have a lot of positive things in their other lives. They might be called dummy at school. They might be called stupid in the neighborhood. They might not be. They might be completely neglected from home. And so when they come to you, they want to try something new. So if they come to you and you are saying, "Good job, Johnny. Good job, Mohammed," then you are talking to, about making some differences there. Yeah, keep a positive environment. That's some of your responsibilities as a coach, as a leader. Huh? And these players might be looking for a positive environment. You have to create that for them. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome. You are working with young players. Your goal is not to win championship. Your goal is to develop players. Your goal is to change lives of players. So everyone should be welcome. Huh? When I say everyone, and I insist on this, it can be someone who is physically handicapped. You need to welcome them. Why not? Huh? Why not? It can be someone who cannot even catch the basketball. Welcome them. Huh? After all, we all hear about developing players as basketball players, but also, and most importantly, as young individuals, as human beings. In all, in order for you to be the best coach possible, you need to understand who your players are. You need to invest in your players. You need to invest in knowing your players. Huh? Engage yourself in other conversations outside of the basketball. Huh? Johnny comes to practice and you say, "Hey, Johnny, did you watch yesterday's soccer game, for example? Or did you, how was your math test? How did you do in your math test?" Huh? Or you tell us to, "Hey, Astu, last time you left a little bit upset, and when I asked you, you told me that your mother was not well. How is your mother today?" Huh? When you have these type of conversations, these type of relationships, you are investing in your players. You are investing in knowing them. And because that will eventually help you understand the motivation of your players. Huh? So that's what a coach does. A coach needs to understand the motivation of your players. What motivates your players? Let's go to another set of questions. Do I need to establish team rules? Huh? Can I guide my players towards success? Do I send a clear message on what is right and what is wrong? What do I like? What do I not like? What do we tolerate here? Why we do not tolerate? Again, with young players, it's all about developing. Winning is not important, should not be important. It should never be the goal. Developing should be the goal. A player shoots and scores, good for them. But what's important, did he or she take the good shot? Did he or she take a shot in a mechanically correct way? Did they receive the ball properly before taking that shot. That is development. We should not necessarily give kudos for making the basket, but let's give them kudos for doing the right thing, taking the right shot, shooting the ball mechanically well. Establish clear expectations. When you establish clear expectations as a coach, you are given a chance to your players to know what's right and what's not right. And you are providing a safe environment for them. They understand what it is. It's clear expectation. You need to be at practice 10 minutes latest before practice starts. So it's clear. There is nothing ambiguous about it. It's very clear. This is how we do it. At the end of the game, we all line up and we shake hands. It's a clear expectation. There is no doubt about that. You need to set good examples. You need to be a good example. Everyone is watching you. You need to set a good example. You come on time. You're dressed properly. You speak properly. Your tone is appropriate. Your teaching is appropriate. Your way you handle kids is appropriate. You're not stressed. You don't show your anger. You listen. As a coach, great coaches are great listeners. You need to be there to listen to them. Be engaged. If at times you need to play with the players, play with them. Have fun. The coach, the players, they really love that. They see that you are also enjoying yourselves. Nurture. You are about nurturing the kids. You are about giving the kids many more things, not only basketball, but many other values. You are organized. You don't just come to practice and improvise. You know where your basketballs are. You know where your cones are. You know what you need before practice. You know what you're going to work on. You create a stress-free environment. You don't create stress for the kids. The kids are there to have fun. The kids are there to relax. Their parents are sending them to be in an environment that is appealing, that is enjoyable. So you need to help them create a stress-free environment. The parents also, the most important thing for parents is safety. So you need to create a safe environment. At times, we might be in a situation where we have a broken basket or a hole in the court, etc. Make sure that you are avoiding using those particular areas. You are inclusive. You're including everyone. Not only the best players, not only the tallest or the people that have been there for a long time. No, include everyone. Treat everyone in a fair way. Treat everyone in a fair way. Not necessarily equal way, but fair way. Teach. You are a teacher. As a coach, you are a teacher. So teach and teach properly. Communicate. Communication basically eradicates any type of bad rumors, any types of wrong information. So when you communicate, we all know that the information came from you. And again, by doing this, you are being a role model. Let's go to another set of questions. You know, how do I talk to referees? Oh, those refs are really unfair. They are very bad. Or that player, you really did not play very well, or you did not practice very hard, etc. Or no, I am doing it this way. I'm not changing. I'm not sure that's the right approach if you want to be a successful coach. Again, reminder, you are working with young players. You're working with youth. Everyone who's watching you, you are a role model. You are setting an example. For starters, you need to adapt to your players because you just got to know them. Everyone makes mistakes. There is no one person in this world that has not made a mistake. There's no basketball player that has not made a mistake. There's no referee that's not made mistakes. There's no coach that's not made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Be understanding. Be compassionate. Huh? Make sure that you are praising the effort and not punishing the mistakes. Be a good sport. Huh? You win, you don't win. Things work out, things don't work out. Be a good sport. Keep smiling, keep positive, keep an enjoyable environment. Your feedback needs to be appropriate. Huh? When we finish a game, the most you can do is get the kids together. Great job, guys. Great effort. We'll see you Monday at practice. All right. You don't need to necessarily talk about the score. And if you go back home, take note of what needs to be improved. You take notes on the fact that Astu was not successful in giving that particular pass, or Johnny did not take a shot at that time, or Michelle had a hard time going for left hand layup. Give them some objective feedback. Understand what they can do, what they cannot do. You teach them something, you give them feedback on whatever you taught them. Be constructive, and be positive. That was a good job. That was good effort there. Nice try, but it did not work, coach. It's okay. That's fine. You tried, which is important. We will work on it at practice. During practices, you may stop a particular player or put a particular player to the side and talk to them and give them honest, constructive, and objective feedback. Tell them exactly what they need to do. Don't start telling them what they should not do. No, tell them what they need to do. And be positive. Have a positive tone. Keep it all in perspective. Don't get too hot. Don't get too hot-headed during games and start yelling and keep it all in perspective. You're there to develop players. You're there to make sure the players are having fun. So make sure that it's all in perspective. Your behavior needs to be exemplary. The way you talk, you shake hands at the end of the game. All your players shake hands at the end of the game. You deal appropriately with players that are losing control. You give a chance to everyone in an equal way. Just remember that everyone is watching. As a coach, whether we want it or not, we're gonna have negative comments. And some comments are gonna be fair, some comments are not gonna be fair, etc. We gotta learn how to deal with it. Don't take it personal. You chose to be in a leadership position. All leaders get negative comments. So deal with it. Have some poise, and have some balance. And just, again, remember, I reiterate, coaches are always being watched. When you're playing a game, when you're practicing, you never know who is watching you. It may be a manager. It may be another coach. It might be a parent. It may be a future parent, a prospective parent who is looking to send their kid next year to you. So make sure that you are on your top behavior at all times. And again, this tells us that the coach has the right attitude. Gonna go for another set of questions. Do I allow my players to participate in other events? Do I need to participate in regional? And as a coach, you need to be visible. You need to make yourself available. You can't just finish your practice and go lock yourself in. You need to go out and see what's going on. You go watch other practices. You go watch other colleagues. You go and talk to other people who are involved in your community or in your basketball region. Go say hello to parents. Go talk to parents at the end of practice. Tell them about Johnny. Tell them what Johnny needs to do. Whatever you do, make sure it's child-centered. Whatever you do, Think of the child. Remember, that player of yours is also a student. He also does piano, and he also has a family that he would like to go on weekends trip with. So if that's going to help that particular player, when you let them go to their piano recital, or when you let them go on a trip, you are contributing to their development as well. So keep it all in perspective. It's all about what's important for the child. Be involved and support the system, because by being involved, by helping others, you may get it back. You may eventually get someone else to help you afterwards. So by doing all this, a coach is part of the system. Another set of questions. Can I ask parents for help? Do I have enough resources? You know, as coaches, you don't have everything. You don't all work for rich clubs or rich schools, and you have all the resources that you want. You have all the assistant coaches that you need, etc. Many times you'll find yourself that you need some help. So define your needs. At the beginning of your season, make sure you understand what your needs are. I need 2 assistant coaches. I need someone to help me with keeping absences. I need someone to help me out for the Facebook page, for example. Define your needs clearly. I need water for a particular tournament, or I need someone to make sandwiches for a tournament. Then go ahead and seek help. Go ahead and ask for help. But again, if you are someone who is a good role model, if you are someone who has a great attitude, if you are someone who is involved in their in the system, and what's around them, it's going to be a lot easier for you to seek help. Because you never know, when you go and ask for someone to give you water, you never know if that director of that company that sells water was the person that was watching you in your game last week. Acknowledge the help. When you get the help, it's simple, plain simple. Say thank you properly. Saying thank you goes a long way. Giving time to volunteers and people that have helped you goes a long way. So as a coach, as a leader, make sure you do that. Make sure you are appreciative and grateful for the help that you've got. And don't forget, you're all about developing young athletes. And again, a coach here can manage to get support for his or her program. I will end this presentation. Well, before I end, let's summarize what we said leadership is. Leadership in basketball is when a coach is a role model, is part of the system, gets support for the program, has the right attitude, and understands the motivation of players. If you concentrate on these 5 parts of your coaching life, you are for sure to be a leader. And I am going to finish with this quote. I tell you that coaches are all the same. They only differ in the way they care. As coaches, we must care. And here we go. It's time for questions. Do you have any questions? Not I questions, but any questions? Perfect. So, Coach Owino, I wonder if anyone has any questions. We can give them either a microphone, or if they have any questions through the chat box. Are you there, Coach Owino?
Yeah, I'm here. So far, no questions.
Okay.
From the chat. So I don't know. Maybe ask them if they have any questions, if they thought it through.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can do that. I wonder if anyone has any questions.
Okay, let me do that.
While we're waiting for questions, I would like to make sure that all coaches here understand one thing that is important. Many of us, you know, when we are young, as young coaches, some of the first things that we always go and look for is a particular drill. Do I, you know, how do I teach the pick and roll, or how do I teach shooting? Or, oh, by the way, did you see this play from? Did you see this play from from the San Antonio Spurs, etc.?
Okay.
So, all these things that we need to make sure that we compartmentalize the way we learn as coaches, the way we develop ourselves. So we have three parts, as we said earlier. We have the player part, which is where we teach individual skills. We have the team part, which is where we teach team concepts and strategies. And then we also have the coach part, which is where we are improving ourselves as with our interpersonal skills and behavioral skills.
Okay, coach.
Yeah.
We have a question here from Florence Fundi.
Okay.
She's asking, how do we balance between developing children as great basketball players and ensuring that they don't miss out on experiencing childhood? Let me repeat that for you. How do we balance between developing children as great basketball players and ensuring that they don't miss out on experiencing childhood?
Yes. Hello, Florence. Simple answer. By concentrating on the latter part of your question, make sure you are developing them. Make sure they don't miss out on other things. Because once they see that you are helping them with their other things, they will have an increased appreciation towards you as a coach, and eventually they will be listening to you. And if basketball is something that they choose eventually, they will for sure become better. So your first goal should not necessarily be to make them better basketball players. It should be about making them better people, balanced people. And then teach them basketball as it comes. Remember, we're talking about young players. We're not talking about 17, 18-year-olds. We're talking about 9, 10, 12-year-olds here. So make sure that they don't miss out on other things. And then gradually, they will come back to you and they'll be hungrier for more. Thank you, Florence.
Coach, the next question comes from Nigeria. Adetayo Awonjirin is asking, when you finished the training, you said all the coaches are the same. She's asking, how is it that all the coaches are the same?
Thank you. Well, Adetayo, welcome, my friends from Nigeria. Of course, there was a two-sentence part. I said all coaches are the same, and then they only differ in the way they care. When I say all coaches are the same, is basically all coaches, we are there to teach basketball. Except that some of us care a lot more about the individuals than others. And that makes us better coaches. So if you care more as a coach, you will be a better leader. Thank you, Adeyayo.
Coach, another question from Jimna Kimani from Mombasa, Kenya, Old Town. He's asking, how do you handle a player who is excellent in practice but struggles in games because of fear?
Okay.
How do you handle a player who is excellent in practice but struggles in games because of fear?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Hello, Jimna from Mombasa. I love your beautiful town and your beautiful country. Yeah, Jimna, it's a common occurrence. It happens quite often that you have players that are extremely good during practices, and then when it comes to games, they don't perform as well. As a coach, you have to be able to look at yourself and criticize yourself. It's all about you. Meaning, it's the way you teach the game. It's not necessarily their fault. It is your fault as a coach for not setting them for success. For example, did you put them in a game-like situation during practices? Huh? Did they practice with defense? Did they practice with tough defense? Did they practice in an environment where that is similar to the game? So when you do that, you are helping them become more accustomed. There are always special circumstances with some particular players who take longer to be less afraid in games or less nervous. It's just a matter of time, and you keep helping them throughout practice by establishing game-like experiences. Thank you, Jimna.
Coach, another question. Observation is Sami Wanjoy from Mombasa. Also asking, Coach, kindly share your ideas on how a coach as a leader can handle criticism and negative comments without being derailed. So I'll say that again.
That's fine. You don't need to say it again. I thank you. I got it.
Right.
Yeah, just ignore it. Ignore the criticism. That is not something that you need to listen to. That is not something that you need to respond to. Criticism will be there all the time. However, the way you handle it is you have to just keep doing whatever you need to be doing, whatever you have planned. You just keep working. And again, some criticism might be, I have to correct myself. I'm sorry. When I say ignore it, I'm talking about criticism that is not constructive. If it's constructive criticism, of course, you take it into account and if you agree with it, you find a way to improve in that particular part. And I apologize for that. I have to correct myself. But if it's negative criticism that is unfounded and is just there, just completely ignore it and focus and concentrate in what you're doing. Thank you, Samuel.
Coach, the next question is, how do you help a player with a bad attitude to blend with the team?
Very good. Bad attitudes are there because they are allowed to be. Okay, as a coach, you need to control that. You need to make sure that, again, what is right and what is not right. Johnny, you cannot come here and not be polite to your players. So if you establish that properly, then Johnny will probably not have that bad attitude towards throughout the season. Eventually, you can start using different ways. You can praise people who display proper attitude. Please note that I did not say you need to punish little Johnny because of his bad attitude, but probably praise others for the appropriate attitudes. Because Johnny wants to hear that he's doing a good job, etc. And then as soon as Johnny does something good, give him that importance that they need. Players with bad attitudes usually need attention. They lack attention. So in order to avoid that, make them sometimes your mini assistant. Make sure that they are helping you with collecting balls or give them some particular jobs. They will feel important, and you will decrease that incident of bad attitude. So it's an ongoing process. Thank you.
Coach Nofal, we have a coach asking here, a male coach asking that when he's coaching the young players, especially girls, he wonders if they feel burdened, for instance, when he keeps monitoring them because of the opposite sex. Where do you draw the line between basketball and private life?
That's you have to understand when we talked about understanding your players and getting to know your players and investing in your players, we're talking also about culture. One might be correct in one particular culture, might not be correct in another culture. So you need to be able to differentiate that. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to young players, there are certain ways that you can communicate with them with, and there are certain ways that you should not be using for communication. Okay? Um, and these ways, for instance, can be, for example, you don't give young players, you don't give them your private phone number. You don't give them your your private Facebook account. That's just not appropriate because they are just way too young. And when it comes to young girls, also you need to be able to know where to draw the line. Kids are kids. Kids are kids, and they always have, they don't think they have limits. You need to have limits. You need to make sure that you know where your boundaries are. Thank you.
Coach, the next question comes from Amadu from Nigeria. She's asking, she needs you to break down how is coach role. You expound a little bit.
I'm going to ask you to please say that again, Coach Owino, please.
She's asking, can you give a break? I think she means a breakdown of the coach is a role model. Expound on the coach as a role model. Can you expound on the coach as a role model?
Yeah. Basically, I'm going to ask you to please go back to the YouTube link when it's shared, and you can look at it and go through the slides. But being a role model is basically being someone who's exemplary. Just make sure that everyone, you are being watched all the time. As a leader, everyone who's watching you. The guard of the gym or of the court where you play is watching you. The parent is watching you. The driver is watching you. Other players are watching you. Other coaches are watching you. So you need to be of an exemplary behavior at all times. Thank you.
Coach, thank you so much. The next question is, you said that winning is not important. So how can a coach, this is Ndizera Ange from Rwanda, is asking how winning is not important. How can a coach help a child to be a winner in a time when the child sees the basic purpose of life, that playing is just not about winning? How do you balance, be competitive?
Yes. Hello, Desire from Rwanda, my good friends from Rwanda. Listen, Desire, what is winning? You need to establish what winning is, or you need to establish what success is. We said winning as in winning championships, etc., is not important. And that's very important that you understand that when you're developing young players. And needs to start from you as a coach. You know, you can't be losing games on the score and be extremely upset. That's not sending the right message. You cannot win games and be like, yahoo, we won, we won, we won. That does not send the right message. When you are behaving in a way where you put the development of the player at first as your main goal, you are slowly helping the players understand that success for them is their own development. At ages 15 and under, you don't need to worry about teaching them how to become winners. That's someone else who's going to do it when they are 17, 18 years old. Right now, at this age, your job is to make sure that they are developing as basketball players and as human beings. Thank you, Desira.
So the next question is from Shalene Wandago from Kenya. And the question is, if you have a hot-tempered player, how do you handle the player in practice or during a game?
If you have how many players, sorry?
A hot-tempered player, a temperamental player.
Yes.
How do you handle this player?
Yes, I have answered already the question, and I'm going to ask you to please look at the YouTube. That's and just listen to the answer, which is basically the same answer as the bad attitude player. Thank you. Next question, please.
We have Mpume Magalela is asking, how does one as a coach handle parents who coach their kids from the sideline, giving different instructions from what the coach is saying?
Very good. Very good. Excellent. What's the name of the person asking the question, please, Ronnie?
Mpume Magalela.
Mpumbe. Hello, Mpumbe. So, at the beginning of the season, when I said you meet with your players, you also need to meet with parents. When you establish rules, you share them with parents, and you make sure they understand why we are setting these rules. And some of the rules that you're talking about is basically parents on the sideline. You just tell them, you are welcome to do that. You are welcome to teach and coach your players. But this is what's going to happen. Number one, your player is not going to learn, is not going to develop. And number two, I will have to ask your player to leave. You need to be as straightforward as this. Because if these parents keep doing this, they are hurting their players. You are not going to be able to fight with everyone here. But the parent's behavior will dictate whether the player will stay with you. But then you need to establish this way ahead of time. You can't do it right at during the game. Sometimes people get hot and things happen. That if that gets out of hand, you call that particular parent for a meeting and you talk to them. And if they don't show up, and you're going to tell me, yeah, well, they never show up, etc., then you say to that particular child, I am sorry, I'm not going to ask, I can't allow you to practice until I meet or see your parents. So this is the way for you to control the parent. But the first thing is that you need to make sure they understand why you're doing that. Thank you.
The next question, Coach, is from Coach Nelito, I think from Mozambique. He has two questions. The first one, I don't understand it so much. He's saying, what do you think you need to do differently as a coach? And then the second one is, what would be your position when you have to choose some players over others? What do you tell the players you have not chosen?
So what do you need to do differently? I mean, we can talk about a lot of things. The only difference that you always need to be looking for is the way you is that you need to innovate. You need to look for better things to do. You need to look for better ways to deal with particular situations, better ways to teach particular aspects of the game, and you need to differentiate ways in how to help players improve if you feel that that's important. When it comes to choosing, remember, again, we are in an inclusive environment where when we choose, you know, for example, let's say we have a game coming up and we are only allowed 12 players in the game and we have 20 players in our squad. So today for this coming Sunday, you're going to choose 12 players. For the following Sunday, you choose another 12 players. And you keep rotating because you need to be fair and you need to be inclusive. This is extremely important because at this young age, it cannot be about who is better than others. Now, behavior, like a bad temper or a bad attitude may have an effect in the way players are chosen. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. The next question comes from Yakubu Osman, I think from Nigeria. And this question, how can you convince a parent who has never played sports and does not see the value of sports that there is a future for the female player? Most parents, I think, they don't allow their female players to play. So, and this is a really talented player. So how would you go about this?
Very good. Hello, Jacobo, Yakubu. So it can't be about the future. It has to be about the present first. You cannot go to parents and tell them, oh, your player is going to be so good oh, your player is going to be the best because she's talented, etc. It has to be about now. What is she going to gain at this moment? Well, I am going to provide safety for this player. I am going to provide an enjoyable time for her. I am going to provide a safe environment, as I said earlier, safety. I'm going to provide a constructive environment. I'm going to provide a learning environment for her. And we would love to have her. And she is going to be in a position where she can make friends and have new experiences. Once you, because what are parents looking for? The most important thing our parents are looking for is, number one, is the safety. Then comes whether they're having fun, whether they are going to learn something different or new, etc. So when they see that you are someone who is a good role model, who's a good leader, who has the right attitude, who is reputable, they are more bound to trust you. But again, it all comes back to the leadership part that we talked about earlier today in our lesson. When you establish that, you will get more trust from parents. And of course, sometimes we may have some challenges, but in a proper and in a polite and respectful way, you keep asking these particular parents to allow their children, and this particular in this particular case, their girl, to play, and hopefully things will get better. Thank you, Yakubu.
Yeah, there's one more question from Isiyaku Ibrahim from Nigeria, and he's asking, what is the age difference between the passerelle, the cadets, and the junior? What is the age difference?
Hello,
Ibrahim.
Ibrahim, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Unfortunately, I am not familiar with this terminology, the passerelle, etc. I am more familiar with mini basketball, which is 12-year-olds and younger, which is the under 12, and then you have the under 14, under 16, under 18, etc. I am unfortunately not familiar with the passerelle. It must be a term used in particular areas.
Coach, I think there are no more questions from my end. So I hand it back to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say again, thank you to everyone who has contributed to this session this afternoon, especially the team behind FIBA Africa, the tech team, as well as the decision makers. I'm going to thank you all for being here and for participating, for giving us a chance to share our knowledge. And I'm going to ask you and to stay tuned for tomorrow. Coach Owino tomorrow will be talking about effective practice sessions, the same time, same place. Thank you again, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.